Chapter 41, The Fifth Mizukage. 1 week after Yagura's death, the Land of Water was happy. The news of Yagura's death at the hands of Senju Naruto spread through the whole country like a wildfire. News that a single shinobi conquered the Mist Village and defeated their leader was the talk of the whole country. A single man had laid siege to the Mist Village and took down 2,000 shinobi and their leader, Yagura, Jinchuriki of the Sanbai, the three-tailed turtle. Stories of how Naruto rose into the sky and controlled the thunders, how he made large meteorites rain down from sky, how he created waves of black fire and summoned the Kyuubi himself to help. Senju Naruto, Shinobi no Kami, God of the Shinobi, as he was being called now, his legend had just started. Years of this war had left the water country weak and isolated from the other nations. A few bloodline users that never took part on the war were finally making their way back to the village since they had no other place to live. The Mist Village was weak, but they would recover in time. The daimyo was also replaced with a more competent one. Flashback: Water Daimyo's estate. It was the following day after Naruto had conquered the Mist Village. After the bloodline army had settled in and everything was taken care of, there was only one thing left to end this pathetic war. A coup d'etat against the Water Daimyo who funded this war. The dragons and Mei were standing outside of the daimyo's estate. It was night and everyone was on edge. If this worked, then the war would truly be over. In with the new, out with the old. The Water Daimyo had gone along with this war and even supported and funded Yagura. His unfair reign had to come to an end. How do you want to do this? Naruto asked Mei, who brought her hand to her chin. Mei turned to look at Naruto to see his blood-red eyes glowing in the dark. She still couldn't believe that Naruto was this powerful. Poor Chojuro fainted when Naruto had regrouped with them after defeating Yagura. Naruto had conquered the Mist Village and in the end he wasn't even tired, he didn't have a hair out of place or a scratch in his amour. I'm done playing games with him, Mei stated in a serious voice. We are taking the front door, Mei said and jumped out of the shadows. The moment she touched the ground, Mei blurred and the two guards guarding the main gate dropped to the floor unconscious. Works for me, Naruto said and, with a slight wave of hand, ordered the dragons to advance. Yotan, Yokai no Jutsu, lava release, melting apparition technique, Mei said and released a wave of lava from her mouth. The lava covered the gate and started melting it. A few seconds, the once rock-hardened gate was nothing more than melted something on the ground. The alarm echoed through the whole estate as several shinobi dropped from the main tower to defend their leader. Several samurais also stepped outside from the groundhouses and surrounded the individuals. The samurais took out the swords and grasped them strongly when they recognized just what they were up against. I am here for you, daimyo, Mei yelled loudly from the ground. She enhanced her voice with chakra to make sure he would hear her. Everyone waited patiently until the wooden door bursted open and the daimyo stepped out into the balcony, high up in the daimyo's tower. He must have tough, he was safe up there, he even had his traditional blue hat on. You dare to attack me, the daimyo roared from his tower. He was pleased that the war had ended, but he didn't count on being attacked by the same person that won the war. You have the nerve of saying that to us after what you have done, Mei hissed towards the daimyo. You supported and funded Yagura into this war, and for what? Mei asked, narrowing her eyes at the leader of her country. You are supposed to lead this country into betterment. Not death, Mei stated, releasing killer intent. The Mizukage is in charge of his village, it's his job to ensure the safety of his village and country. If he says that we need to eliminate these bloodline scum, then so be it, the Water Daimyo sneered at Mei, who tightened her fist, almost drawing out blood. They were innocent people, Mei yelled. How could he say such thing? He was sheltered in this mansion. He had servants for everything. It were these so-called monsters that kept his country safe and stable. It were these monsters that fought for the safety and betterment of this country. You ungrateful bastard, Mei roared and turned to the shinobi standing in front of her. Stand down, Mei ordered towards the shinobi. After all, they were Mist Shinobi and, as such, they were under her command and her command only. Not even the Water Daimyo had the authority to order shinobi around. That right belonged to the Kage and the Kage alone. They won't listen to you. You are not the Mizukage, the daimyo happily stated, and even if you were, they answer to me and me alone, the daimyo said. I am Mei Terumi, the fifth Mizukage. Mei stated loud and clear with enough authority in her voice to make sure she got her pointer across. I order you to stand down, Mei ordered. You will not, the daimyo ordered, and the shinobi found themselves in a pickle. Kill her, the daimyo ordered, and the shinobi and samurai were about to jump into action when another voice interrupted them. You are welcome to try, Naruto said in a stoic voice as he made his presence known, stepping out of the shadows. Every single shinobi took a step back, noticing the presence of the man that single-handedly defeated Yagura and conquered the Mist Village. Every shinobi gulped. After all, standing in front of them was Senju Naruto, god of all shinobi. You daimyo hissed towards Naruto, who simply raised an eyebrow at his tone. Naruto raised his head to face the daimyo within a bored tone. I've got a bone to pick with the fire daimyo. How dare he allow Konoha to interfere in another country's affairs, the daimyo said. The water daimyo yet seemed to realize in what situation he was in. The state of this country was pathetic. You allowed some deranged fool to start a war and you didn't have the balls to stand up to him, Naruto making the water daimyo seethe while Mei chuckled at Naruto's boldness. You just hide behind these walls, in your safe haven, and you allowed innocent people to be slaughtered. This is why I dislike political leaders. You simply order the shinobi around, a kage leads them into battle. A true leader must be willing to die for his own men, Naruto stated with a neutral voice, crossing his arms over his chest. Enough, the water daimyo said. Kill them all, the daimyo ordered, extending his arm and pointing towards Naruto. Naruto didn't even open his eyes for a few seconds, and when he did, the view didn't exactly surprise him. Every single shinobi and samurai was rooted in place. I said. Kill them, the daimyo roared, but the shinobi didn't move. Maybe they were scared of facing both Mei and Naruto, or maybe they were having second thoughts about everything they learned here. Drop your weapons and let us finish this, Mei said. A few shinobi recoiled from her request. They shared looks between each other until they dropped their kunais and swords. Once they were disarmed, they dropped to their knees. Cowards, the daimyo yelled towards his forces. No, daimyo-sama, Mei said in a sweet voice, maybe too sweet. They are warriors, and my alone, Mei said, and made her way towards the door while the shinobi and samurai did nothing to stop her. The dragons and Naruto secured the perimeter and made sure that the daimyo would not escape. With a final scream from the daimyo, the war was truly over. End flashback. Once the daimyo had been dealt with, a new worthy replacement was found and everything started calming down. The new daimyo started working on getting new trading agreements with other nations, trying to bring Kiri from this dark hole that it lived for so many years. The Mist Village was bursting with activity. The damage from Naruto's siege had been minimal and, as such, the buildings only needed minimal repairs here and there. There was a different ambient around Kiri. Where once people lived oppressed and scared of their tyrannical leader, now they were smiling and laughing. It was an unnaturally sunny day in Kiri. Maybe it was the outcome of Naruto using his new and improved lighting jutsu by drawing energy straight from the atmosphere. Naruto was walking down the village with his beautiful girlfriend on his arm. The armor was long gone and was replaced by civilian clothes. Naruto was wearing black pants and a dark blue shirt. Over that he was wearing a red trench coat with black flames on the bottom. On the back of his trench coat, the Senju clan symbol was proudly displayed in black color as well. Looking at his side, he couldn't but gawp at what Hinata had picked. She was wearing what she had called a gala dress or something. It was all confusing to Naruto, but he didn't seem to complain much. It was dark blue long dress that showed a little bit of her cleavage. Her dark blue hair flowing in the wind. They were walking towards the Mizukage Tower, where there was a small party, if you could call it that, to celebrate the end of the war and the election of Mei Terumi as the new Mizukage. The choice of new leader had been swift and with overwhelming majority. Minus than 5% of the Mist Village disagreed of Mei Terumi being chosen as the new Mizukage. Naruto and Hinata smiled and replied at the people that greeted them on their walk. Naruto and his dragons had become somewhat famous over the duration of their stay. Kiri no Hachinin no Ayu, the 8 heroes of Kiri as they were being called. Mei tried her best to uncover what lied being the masks, but hit dead ends every time. At least she knew of Naruto and Hinata. Mei had made them honorary members of her village and said they were welcome to visit any time they wished. Both of them arrived at the Mizukage Tower to see a large red carpet on the ground. The other dragons were already there. It seemed a bit weird for the dragons to be wearing masks, but they had their identity to preserve. "You took you sweet time to arrive," Mei said with her hands on her hips. After all, the dragons were the guests of honor on this small event. "Sorry about that," Naruto replied, scratching the back of his head. "Me and Hinata took a little too much time getting ready," Naruto explained to Mei, who narrowed her eyes. "Surely you didn't want us to show up in our battle armor?" Naruto rhetorically asked, and Mei nodded, dragging them both inside. They ate and chatted happily as the afternoon got by. It was finally night and the moon was shining high up in the sky. It was a cloudless night, so Naruto had a pretty good view of the stars and moon from the top of Mizukage Tower. Naruto sighed as he looked up at the starry sky. He was leaning on the metal fence, spinning a kunai on his hand. It's kind of funny that Naruto was wearing civilian clothes and yet, he still had a few weapons with him. "So this is where you were," Naruto heard and turned around to see Hinata approaching. "Why have you been hiding up here?" Hinata asked as she joined Naruto by the metal fences, looking up at the sky. "No reason," Naruto lied as he sighed and focused on the sky once again. "Just trying to clear my mind," Naruto explained, and that didn't fool Hinata. "You have known each other and lived together for nearly 10 years. You really think you can hide something from me?" Hinata rhetorically asked, making Naruto chuckle. "I guess," Naruto replied and gathered his thoughts before answering. "It's just, I don't know. I feel guilty for killing everyone," Naruto said, sighing and looking up. They were innocent people and even Yagura had nothing to do with this. It was Tobi all along. He used Isabu as a medium to control him, Naruto explained, and Hinata's eyes widened as she never knew. "Naruto didn't tell anyone about Yagura being controlled. When I saw you there, lying there on the floor, I don't know. I felt as if something inside of me snapped," Naruto said, and Hinata just heard him, holding his hand firmly. "I knew I could bring you back even if you died, but just seeing you there on the ground unconscious and in pain. I got so angry that I didn't even think properly and just rushed the village to kill Yagura," Naruto explained, sighing. "You went God Almighty on them, didn't you?" Hinata softly asked, and Naruto nodded. "You know me too well," Naruto said, giving a hollow chuckle. "I guess Itachi is right after all," Naruto said, and got a confused look from Hinata and decided to explain. "I knew Itachi from back before the massacre. I had the Sharingan, so sometimes I watched the Uchihas train so I could learn how to use my eyes. One time I heard him say this to his brother Sasuke. Being the best isn't all it's made out to be. When you're strong, you become arrogant and withdrawn. Even if what you sought after was your dream." Naruto said. He was right. I got so caught in my own power that I started comparing myself to gods. I may not have become arrogant, but it was only a matter of time, Naruto explained. "This is why I know that you aren't a god, Naruto-kun," Hinata replied, and Naruto looked curiously towards her. "A god doesn't feel remorse or guilt. To them we are nothing more than insects. We were created by them and they feel as if they own us. By owning us they can dispose of us as trash without a care in the world," Hinata explained, and Naruto listened intently. "Feelings is what makes us human, and the fact that you feel guilty after what you have done is proof of that," Hinata explained. "I suppose," Naruto replied. I have absolute control over life and death. To me it makes life seem like nothing, and yet I feel guilty over what I have done. Isn't it strange?" Naruto rhetorically asked. "I can take and give life as I wish, and yet, every time I take a life I feel empty inside," Naruto explained. "That is the way of the shinobi," Hinata started. "No matter how much we kid ourselves, we are weapons. We train and kill so that others don't. We kill so that our loved ones can live peacefully. We kill so that the people of Konoha can live in peace," Hinata said, and Naruto looked at her. Hinata had really grown up from her old shy personality. Where she once pulled her strength from Naruto, now she has her own. "Everything you have done has been for the betterment of Kiri. It was best to end this war quickly than to further the bloodshed. It is the duty of the shinobi to carry this burden." Hinata finished and locked eyes with Naruto, losing herself in his blue eyes. "And you don't have to feel empty or withdrawn. You have me," Hinata stated, and pulled Naruto for a soft kiss, under the gaze of the bright moon on the sky. Naruto forgot all about his problems and focused solely on his girlfriend. He wrapped his arms around her waist and pulled her closer, deepening the feeling of bliss and love. Hinata wrapped her hands around his neck, pulling him closer as well. They were lost in their own world that they didn't notice the presence of the dragons, that witnessed the whole thing from the beginning. All were red, Kushina, and black, Mito, fanned over the couple kissing under the moonlight. Naruto and Hinata split when they heard that sound. Thanks a lot for ruining the moment, Hinata cutely pouted, making everyone chuckle. Come on, let's go back. Mei's speech is about to begin, Yellow said, and Naruto and Hinata followed them, still holding hands. Nothing would split them apart, not even death. Mizuki's tower excellent, Ao said as he watched the dragons step in through the large double doors. Now that our guests of honor are here, we can begin, Ao said, and the crowd quieted down and listened to what Ao had to say. Today is day of celebration. Today marks the official end of the bloodline war and the rise of our new Mizuki. Several days ago, Yagura was defeated after waging war against his own people for several years, Ao said, and a few people lowered their heads. But that is the past. We are here and we will rebuild. So, without further ado, I present you, Mei Terumi, the fifth Mizuki, Ao said, and the crowd erupted in cheers. From the side door a woman walked out. Mei was wearing her traditional blue dress but was also wearing her kage hat. A dark blue hat with the kanji for water imprinted in the front of the hat. The hat itself was proof that she was the new leader of this country, the new Mizuki. Everyone fell silent as the new Mizuki made her way towards the podium. Mei took a deep breath and started. Kerego Cure. We are finally united. This country has been split for far too long. Under the rule of Yagura, the water country had been slowly withering away and this war didn't help. But let's forget the past and work into building the future. I promise I will do my best to lead this country and village to a brighter tomorrow, for I am, Mei Terumi, Godei Mizuki, Mei stated, and the crowd cheered. Everyone was happy that the war was over and they start fresh, so to speak. Mei raised her hand and the crowd fell silent once again. Though this victory isn't only ours to celebrate. This war wouldn't have won so easily, and only Kami knows how much time we would have to endure Yagura's reign without Konoha's help. I would like to extend my deepest gratitude to the 8 dragons of the leaf, Mei said, and all of the dragons rose from their seats. I present you. The Kiri no Hachi ni no Iu. The 8 heroes of the mist, Mei shouted, and the whole crowd cheered for their heroes. Who would have thought that Konoha shinobi would be considered heroes of another foreign country? But this was the start of an alliance that would last for decades to come. This was the first step of the peace the Sage of 6 Paths always wanted. As Lannan Mizuki, they will always be welcome here in our country. As per our agreement towards the Hokage, Kiri is now fully allied with the leaf, Mei said, and everyone smiled, and I hope this treaty lasts for years to come, Mei said, and the crowd cheered once again. Now, let's party and get drunk, Mei shouted, and everyone chuckled. You know, Hinata started, getting the attention of Naruto. We never danced, Hinata said, and Naruto raised an eyebrow. You never said anything about liking it, Naruto said, confused. Naruto-kun. Every girl wants to be like a princess, even if it's only momentarily, Hinata replied, and Naruto nodded. Where did you learn how to dance? Naruto asked, curious. The academy, of course. Did you think that the seduction class was only about looking good and charming? Hinata rhetorically asked, but Naruto shrugged his shoulders. Besides, I did learn the basics when I lived in the Hyuga clan, Hinata explained. Sorry, Hinata-kun, but I don't know how to dance, Naruto replied timidly, scratching the back of his head. You really are a knucklehead, Hinata said, playfully hitting his shoulder. Your Sharingan can copy more than jutsu, you know? Hinata said, amused, and Naruto blinked and blinked again as his brain caught up with her. I'm an idiot, Naruto said, shaking his head and activating his Sharingan. Maybe, Hinata replied, giggling, but you are my idiot, Hinata said, pecking him on the lips. Lead on. Princess, Naruto said, and placed his arm around Hinata's waist while Hinata placed her own arm on his shoulder. Naruto easily caught up with the steps and both danced perfectly and in sync. They danced for what seemed to be hours, never looking away from each other. They were lost in each other's arms. Eventually the music came to an end and they split for a small break and went towards the rest of the dragons. "We have to do something," Naruto heard Green, Hashirama, say as they arrived near them. "What's up?" Naruto asked, and Green pointed towards Blue, Tobirama, who's sitting down in a table silently watching everyone. "I don't follow," Naruto said, confused, looking at his great uncle. "We have to do something about him. Even back in the day he was always sulking and brooding around in the corners. If it wasn't for my sensing abilities I could swear he was an Uchiha," Green said, and Naruto's sweat dropped. "What do you propose?" Black, Mito, asked, curious as to what her husband had planned. "A woman," Hashirama said, nodding his head, confident on his choice. "You want to set up him with a hooker?" Yellow, Minato, asked, tilting his head to the side, confused. Red, Kushina, smacked in the head and dropped him to the floor. "Why are all men idiots?" Red rhetorically asked. "You can make spacetime jutsu that allows instant teleportation, but understand, woman," ga Kushina almost shouted. "Even after you rescued me, I had to pin you to the wall and shove my tongue on your throat for you to realize I liked you," Kushina said, and Minato pouted while everyone chuckled. "I know just the person for him," Naruto said with his eyes twinkling with mischief. "And who is that person?" Hashirama asked, and Naruto pointed to a woman with red hair and blue dress. "Oh. She is perfect for him," Hinata said, thinking about the new couple. "Sure. Until she gets pissed off and melts his balls," Minato sarcastically replied. "Will you give it a rest?" Kushina replied, smacking Minato again. "Now. How should we do this?" Kushina asked, and the dragons began plotting Tobirama's fate while he was completely unaware. 5 minutes later everyone was in position. "Get your ass up, Black," Mito shouted as she appeared next to the brooding Tobirama. "What do want, Black?" Tobirama asked, slightly afraid of her tone. "Hell hath no fury as an angry Uzumaki, or Senju for that matter." "We are going to dance, now up," Mito said, and Tobirama complained. "Why don't you take this with my brother? He's your husband after all," Tobirama complained, as he just wanted some peace of mind. "Now," Mito growled, and Tobirama jumped to his feet. "That's better," Mito said, and dragged him to the dance floor. Tobirama and Mito were dancing, much against Tobirama's will, but he thought this would be the safest way. "Here," Hinata said as she approached him. "Have a drink," Hinata offered, and Tobirama was about to refuse until he saw the murderous look on Mito's eyes. Even through the mask he could feel her gaze drawing a hole in his skull should he refuse. Tobirama shook his head and gulped down the sake. "I wonder when is this nightmare going to end?" Tobirama thought to himself as someone poked him in his back. "Heads up," Naruto said, and Tobirama got confused until he felt Naruto's foot on his back. Tobirama flew through the room. Naruto used his gravity manipulation to make sure Tobirama didn't collide with anyone and found his way into the arms of the right person. It only took a second for Tobirama to collide with someone's back. "Oh my," May stated, looking amused at Blue. "You know? You don't have to crash into me to ask me for a dance." "I'm not that hard to approach," May said, and offered him her hand for a dance. Tobirama looked conflicted and thought best to accept, otherwise his balls might be in danger. "I'm going to kill that brat," Blue angrily thought as he took her hand and lead her to the dance floor. "Success!" Naruto shouted, and every dragon cheered. Amagakure in a dark cave, a lone figure could be seen walking towards another who was by the door. The one by the door had spiky orange hair with multiple piercings on his nose, chin, and ears. He was wearing a long black cloak with red clouds. He was Pain, the leader of the Akatsuki. Pain, the other person, called out as he approached. He had the same cloak with black spiky hair and had an orange mask. "It's time," Toby said, and Pain nodded, flashing through hand seals. In some unknown cave, 10 spectral figures could be seen standing in the dark. Every single one of them had the standard black cloak with red clouds. They were standing in a perfect circle. "Before we begin, I would like to introduce our newest member," Toby Payne said as Toby waved to everybody. "Toby is a good boy," Toby cheerfully stated, being his orange mask. "I guess these meetings won't be so dull now," Kisame said, laughing, while Itachi remained his stoic person. "As of now we are back to 10 members. Deidara, Sasori, Kakuzu, Haiden, Itachi, Kisame, Setsu, Toby, Conan, and me." Pain started. It's time we being our plans and started hunting down the Jinchurikis. As of now both the Ichibi, Nibi, Hachibi and the Kyubi are out of our grasp, Pain said until he was interrupted. Why don't we simply bomb the villages and then take them? Deidara said, molding clay in his hands. You are a fool. Deidara. Kakuzu started. The Hachibi is full control over his bijou and he never leaves Kumogakure, coupled that with his brother A, the Yandame Raikage, and it would be impossible for us to take them, Kakuzu said, and Pain nodded, knowing that it was true. The same thing could be said of Konoha. According to my spies, the Kyubi brat has grown strong, Pain said. How strong? Itachi asked, curious about the growth of Naruto. Strong enough to take 2,000 shinobi and Yagura himself when he conquered the Mist Village alone, Pain said, and Itachi's eyes widened. You mean to tell me that the Kyubi brat stormed the Mist Village and defeated Yagura and his army? Kisame asked, not believing what he had heard. Yes, Pain simply replied. Is going to be a pain in the ass to capture, Kisame replied, laughing. The fact that the Kyubi brat is now being called the Shinobi no Kami, god of the shinobi, and that he has a flea on sight order in the bingo book is proof of his strength. Besides that, he also has full control over his bijou. Not only that, but he is always in the presence of at least his girlfriend Hyuga Hinata, who is also considered a rank shinobi and not to be taken lightly, Pain explained. I'll say. That damn girl defeated my second in command, forcing her into using Izanagi, Toby thought to himself. Things weren't looking good. As of now, those four are out of our reach. In the meantime, Haiten, Kakuzu, head for Taki and capture Fu, the Jinchuriki of the Nanabai. Itachi, Kisame, head for the Earth Country and scout for both the Yanbi and Gobi. Deidara, Sasori go to the Water Country and scout for Utakata, the Jinchuriki of the Rokubi, Pain ordered, and once he received acknowledges from everybody, he left. Back in AIM after the meeting was over. You know that only you can stand up to the Kyubi brat, right? Toby asked towards Pain. I don't think he is as powerful as you say. But if necessary, I'll be the one to capture him, Pain replied and walked off. Your time is coming to an end. Nagato, Toby thought darkly and warped away. Mei's bedroom. Dawn. Everything was dark and quiet in this bedroom. As the sun came up in the sky, a few beams managed to sneak through the blinds and awake Mei from her slumber. Mei groggily woke up and brought her hand to her face to block the light. Oh. My head, Mei said, nursing her head and rising to a sitting position. Once she sat down on her bed, the sheets fell down to reveal her naked figure. Mei looked down and found it weird as she never slept naked, but, then again, she couldn't remember much from last night. Mei tried to rise but found herself stuck as the sheets wouldn't budge. She looked to her right to find someone else lying there asleep and, judging by his lack of clothes, he was also naked. Oh God, Mei said to herself, covering up and shaking the man awake. Tobarama groggily opened his eyes and looked up to see the shocked face of Mei staring at him. Oh God, Mei yelled when she saw Tobarama's face and his blue mask on the floor. She-ite. I'm going to kill that brat, Tobarama thought to himself and wondered how he was going to walk away from this one with his balls intact. Chapter 42, Akatsuki Strikes. Konoha Gates. It was a standard day for the eternal guards of Konoha's gates. There was a small breeze in the air and the sun was shining high in the sky. Poor Izumo and Kotetsu were in their regular job. Kotetsu was sleeping like always while Izumo was tilting back in his chair looking up at the clear sky. Kukukuku. Izumo heard and shifted his eyes from the sky and into the gates only to come face to face with the snake Sannin himself. Oh my! Look at what we have here, Kukukuku Orochimaru said, chuckling darkly and licking his lips with his freakish long tongue. Orochimaru. Izumo stuttered and proceeded to faint, smacking his head on the wooden desk. A small crack appeared as his forehead made contact with the wooden desk. Too easy, Orochimaru said, poofing into smoke to reveal Naruto in his battle armor. That wasn't even funny, Naruto pouted while Red, Kushina, grinned at him and Hinata just shook her head. Alright team, Naruto called out, gathering the attention on the dragons. Go home while I report with Hinata-kun. I have a few things to talk about with Bachan, Naruto said, and everyone blurred out of his sight. It was testament to their power as it only took a split second before every dragon was out of Naruto's field of vision. Then again, what would you expect from an rank shinobi? Let's go, Hinata-kun, Naruto said, and both of them jumped high in the sky, taking the rooftops towards the Hokage Tower. Hokujitara Yobuchan Naruto said, making a hello gesture with his right arm as he entered Tsunade's office. As Naruto entered the office, it came into view just how much paperwork there was. 3 Tsunades were working hard on the paperwork while, what Naruto guessed was the original, laid back on her chair with a cup of tea. Working hard, I see, Naruto said, amused with the glare he was receiving from the clones. He gave a small chuckle when he heard the clones murmur something about a rebellion against their tyrannical leader. A woman has to do what a woman has to do, I guess, Tsunade happily said, taking a sip of her drink. Shut up and back to work, Tsunade yelled when she noticed the clones glaring at her. They flinched and got back to work, growling at their maker. So, welcome back, Tsunade said, welcoming Naruto and Hinata. They have been gone a couple of weeks. She was pleased as to how good things were going. She had been hearing good news from the mist. It's good to be back. Mist is too moist for my taste, Naruto said, sighing in relief, and that mist is everywhere, and I mean everywhere, Naruto said while Tsunade's sweat dropped as his behavior. I didn't mind that kind of weather, Hinata replied, bringing a finger to her chin. Of course you didn't, Naruto replied, shaking his head. In there you could pull water from the air as you pleased, Naruto explained, and Hinata happily nodded. Enough of this pleasantries. Report, Tsunade ordered, and Naruto snapped from his child's play and into his formal stance. The mission was a complete success. I'm pleased to say that the rebel side won the war, and with only 5% casualties since our arrival. Yagura, the Yandame Mizukage, Jinchuriki of the Sanbai, was defeated and his tailed beast was set free, Naruto explained, and Tsunade raised an eyebrow. Yes. The price they paid for our help was a promise to never seal the Sanbai into anyone, Naruto said, and got a small smile on his lips when he heard Kurama chuckle in his head. And they went along with that? Tsunade asked, dubious that they would agree with such terms. Kind of. I made a deal with Isabu that if he guarded their village as guardian instead of a prisoner, then he would be free, Naruto said, but Tsunade still wasn't convinced. It seemed that there was a chunk missing in his story. And the fact that Naruto-kun promised pain to anyone that hurt the Sanbai also helped. Hinata supplied, getting a glare from Naruto. Tsunade didn't need to know that Naruto was already threatening their allies. I should have known, Tsunade said, shaking her head. She should have known that side of Naruto to make sure that the Bijou were treated fairly like any other living being. Here, Naruto said, and threw a scroll towards Tsunade, who easily caught it. What's this? Tsunade asked as she unwrapped the scroll, but Naruto shrugged his shoulders. The scroll was addressed specifically towards Tsunade, and Naruto didn't have the right to open it instead of her. This. Tsunade stared with her eyes widened, looking at the content of the scroll. What's wrong? Naruto asked, curious as to what would get such reaction from Tsunade. It was like someone had just offered to pay up all of Tsunade's debts while giving her sake. The mist is willing to forge their special blades for us to use as a token of their appreciation for our help and to cement the alliance, Tsunade said, gobsmacked. The mist was willing to forge their special swords for Konoha to use. The mist had the best swords and all of them were special. Either being the Zabuza's Kobakira Bocho or Kisame Samahata. Really? Naruto asked, surprised, and Tsunade slowly nodded. She chuckled and placed down the scroll. The future was looking good, and she could have sworn she heard a squeal from Nico, Yugao, up in the ceiling. But enough of this. Any casualties? Tsunade asked, roaming through the paperwork. Yeah. About that, Naruto said, chuckling and scratching the back of his head. What happened? Tsunade said in a dangerous voice with her eyes blazing with fire. Even the clones stopped working and joined in the glare. I swear it was Green's, Hashirama, idea, Naruto quickly said, backing up and putting his hands up as a shield. Back in the mist, Tobirama picked up Mei by her waist and lifted her, pushing her against the wall. She wrapped her legs around his waist. Mei started running her hands through his hair as Tobirama hungrily kissed her neck. Mei tilted her head back in pleasure, allowing Tobirama better access to her soft skin. Tobirama walked forward and pushed her against her desk, knocking everything to the ground. So good, Mei moaned as Tobirama's hands started roaming through her body, massaging her thighs, up her flat stomach, feeling her big and firm breasts. Feeling good, Mizuhime, water princess? Tobirama asked closely to her ear. Mei got shivers when she felt his warm breath down her ear and neck. I've got to thank that brat Tobirama, thought to himself, continuing his work. Back in Konoha, so you hooked up Blue, Tobirama, with Mei? Tsunade asked, and Naruto slowly nodded from behind Hinata, much to her amusement. Nice work, brat, Tsunade said, and Naruto was surprised by that but nonetheless sighed in relief. Naruto thought he would be in the receiving end of one of her punches when he and Hashirama decided to play matchmakers. Mei is a strong and independent woman. She will do him good, Tsunade said, and Naruto nodded. The only thing in real danger was Tobirama's balls, but Naruto could heal him should anything happen. And if things go well, we might have a wedding to further cement our alliance, Tsunade said, and Naruto nodded, knowing that it was very true. Can you send your Umbu out of the room? Naruto rhetorically asked. I need to talk to you in private, Naruto said, and Tsunade quickly caught up with the serious voice and did just that. With a small wave of hand, and the Umbu left the room. Naruto placed a quick silence seal to that nothing got out. So what is it that you want? Tsunade asked cautiously and with a serious face. I need permission to talk with Sasuke, Naruto said, and Tsunade started sweating. Yeah, about that, Tsunade said, chuckling nervously. He kind of escaped the prison, Tsunade stated, while her clones chuckled evilly at their owner's misfortune. How the fuck did he do that? Naruto blurted out. Language, Naruto-kun, Hinata said, scolding Naruto. I mean, I destroyed his chakra network. Not even you could have healed that kind of damage, so how the hell did he manage to escape? Naruto asked, and Tsunade sighed before explaining everything and showing him the surveillance tape that showed Tobi knocking the Umbu out and warping away with Sasuke. Gahhhhhhhh, Naruto shouted in frustration and releasing enough chakra to crack the ground. That damned Uchiha is everywhere. Just what the hell does he want? Naruto yelled. First he released the Kyuubi in Konoha, killing my mother and father in the process. Then he goes to the mist and starts a bloodline war. He what? Tsunade shouted, rising from her chair, but Naruto kept rambling on and promising a painful death to Tobi. Tobi was behind the scenes controlling Yagura. He was one that began the bloodline purge, although I don't know to what end, Hinata explained towards her sensei, who fell back to her chair. Who the hell is this Uchiha? How can someone so powerful stay hidden from everyone? Especially to Konoha, that was the Uchiha's birthplace. Tsunade back in Naruto said, breaking Tsunade's train of thought. I want access to Konoha's archives about the Uchiha clan and permission to exhume Uchiha now, Naruto said, and Tsunade raised an eyebrow. Why do you want that? Tsunade asked, and Naruto motioned Hinata to explain. I fought against an Uchiha back in the mist. She was a few years older than me and she had an eternal Manjikyu Sharingan, Hinata explained, and Tsunade's jaw dropped. Just what the hell was going on here? Uchihas were popping out everywhere. It's like they were copying each other. Are you sure? Tsunade asked, and Hinata nodded. I want to confirm that she existed and to see if there is a body to begin with, Naruto explained, and Tsunade nodded, nursing her temples. She was having such a good day until Naruto arrived. Fine, Tsunade agreed, stamping a paper and giving it to Naruto so he had access to the archives. I'll set up the exhumation and perform the autopsy on the body. If there is one, Tsunade said. Alright, Naruto cheered back to his old personality, to which Araku's ramen stand, Naruto yelled, pumping his fists into the air and walking out the room with Hinata shaking her head at his behavior. Not so fast, Tsunade called out from behind her desk and stopping Naruto on his tracks. Now that you are back from your mission, I already have something planned for all of the dragons while you are on vacation. So to speak, Tsunade stated, and Naruto stared at her. It seems that Tobirama will be busy in Kiri, so that leaves the dragons one man down. Since our Umbu commander decided to get himself killed, I need Hashirama and Minato on Umbu duty, Tsunade explained, roaming through the maze of papers before turning to Hinata. Hinata-kun, I need you at the hospital. We are short on personnel and you could really help us out, Tsunade said, and Hinata nodded. As for you, Naruto-kun, I have a very good assignment, Tsunade said, chuckling, and Naruto raised an eyebrow at her tone. I want you to participate on a small lecture at the academy for the students, Tsunade said, and Naruto stared at her. You want me to what? Naruto asked, confused as he didn't know exactly what to do. You want me to teach the brats or something? Naruto asked, tilting his head to the side. Nothing like that. Konohamaru, you and Kakashi will be participating in a small lecture on the students. To tell them what the shinobi life is like from Genin to Chunin and finally Jounin. Tsunade explained and Naruto slowly nodded. Why me though? Naruto asked confused. There are plenty of Chunin around, Naruto stated. True. But you are the clan head of the Senju clan. Being a clan head does bring some obligations. Konohamaru is the third's grandson and most likely one of the most promising and well-known Genins. The same could be said for you in the Chunin area, and Kakashi is one of our best Jounins, Tsunade explained, and Naruto nodded. Might be fun, Naruto said grinning. So when is this lecture I have to give? Naruto asked. I'll set it up and tell you later, Tsunade said, and Naruto and Hinata left the room. Shizen, Tsunade yelled from her desk. Moments later, Shizen walked inside prep an autopsy room. I want this done quietly, understand? Tsunade asked and Shizen nodded. What are you looking at? Tsunade growled at her clones. Back to work, she ordered, and clones mumbled something before going to their daily work. As Tsunade sighed, tilting back on her chair. The wonderful life of a Kage, Tsunade said, taking a sip of her tea. Ichiraku's ramen stand. Naruto and Hinata arrived in a swirl as Naruto used his Kamui to quickly arrive at his favorite stand. And he was surprised to see Red, Kushina, gobbling up bowls of ramen. She was eating bowl after bowl. And didn't even invite Naruto. Dear Lord, Ichiraku said as she sped through the kitchen to keep up with the demand. It's like the Red Death is here once again, Ichiraku said, and Naruto chuckled inwardly. Old man, Naruto called out as he sat down with Hinata. You better speed up as I'm hungry, Naruto said, and Ichiraku paled. Ayame. Get in here, Ichiraku shouted to his daughter as he needed more hands on deck. Ayame ran into the kitchen and barely was able to greet Naruto before Ichiraku shoved a bowl in her face. How about a contest to see who eats more? Naruto asked Red, who grinned behind her mask. Ichiraku paled when he heard that. It was a shame he didn't know any clone technique. Ready? Red said as both of them picked up their chopsticks. Hinata and Yellow, Minato, could only shake their heads at their face-off. Set, Red said as a bowl of ramen was placed down in front of each girl. Red said, and in a flash the bowl was empty. Ichiraku was running from place to place that he was sweating. 10 bowls down, Naruto shouted as he managed to get a small lead ahead of Kushina. 10. Another, Kushina shouted at Ichiraku, who flinched and quickly placed another bowl down. 1 hour later, victory, Naruto shouted as he placed the final bowl down and looked towards Kushina, who was passed out on her stool. I think, Naruto said as he brought his hand to his mouth. I'm gonna be sick, Naruto said, and run towards a nearby bush and emptied his stomach. Kushina said from the stool as she regained her bearings. I win. You couldn't hold your liquor, Kushina said, panting before running the same bush. Unbelievable, Kurama muttered inside his host's mind. Even the fox was started to feel nauseated. That's disgusting, Hinata said, and Minato just chuckled. Hinata and Minato ate a few bowls each one and stopped once they were full, but Naruto seemed to have other plans. Both he and Kushina managed to eat an impressive amount of 50 bowls before both threw up. I feel awful, Naruto said as stumbled his way towards his girlfriend. See you tomorrow, old man, Naruto said towards Ichiraku, who was on the ground huffing from the workout. Naruto took 2 steps before slamming face first on the ground with Kushina on top. You take her, I take him, Hinata said towards Minato, who nodded and picked up Kushina from the ground. Naruto, Hinata called out towards his boyfriend as he leaned of her arms for support. I have a favor to ask you, Hinata said, and Naruto raised an eyebrow at her request. Anything for you, Hinata, and Naruto said, channeling a bit of Kurama's chakra to speed the healing and bring him out of his sickness. I want to learn Senjutsu, Hinata, and Naruto stopped walking and turned towards her. Okay. But why? Naruto asked, confused. Besides the fact it would be a huge power boost to me, I also want to explore the medical applications of it. I heard that Hashirama can do wonders with it and I want to try it as well, Hinata explained, and Naruto chuckled before nodding. Of course. Since we have a few days, I'll teach you how gather and control it, Naruto said, and Hinata pecked his cheek. Now, how about I show you just how thankful I am, Hinata whispered into Naruto's ear, nibbling on his earlobe. He didn't have to be told twice before flashing away, leaving Minato with a fainted Kushina on his arms. How come I didn't think of that? Minato asked to no one as he also flashed home. Next day Takigakure was having a peaceful day as any other. Taki was a small shinobi village that didn't even come close to one of the Great Five. Their army rounded only 1,000 shinobi and many wondered why they had a bijou to begin with. It's been a while, a man clad with a black cloak with red clouds said as he and another man stopped walking. I haven't been here in many years, Kakuzu said as he overlooked what was once his home village. Oi oi oi, the other man screamed to his partner. He wore the same black cloak with red clouds. He had silver hair that was slicked back and purple eyes. On his back he carried a triple-bladed sai. Don't you go all mushy on me, Haiden screamed. Shut up, Haiden, or do you want us to be caught? Kakuzu reasoned as they walked through the village disguised by a small genjutsu. If it were up to me, I would kill everybody so I could bathe in the glory of Jashinsama. All hail Jashin, Haiden screamed, drawing the attention of nearby people. Shut up, Haiden, or I'll kill you, Kakuzu stated. As if you could, Haiden replied, making Kakuzu groan in annoyance. They seemed to be walking calmly, but both of them kept their ears sharp for any chatter regarding Fu, the Jinchuriki they were hunting. Thank you, Fu said to the store owner as she ran towards her house with a small bag. Green hair, orange eyes. It's her, Haiden, the Jinchuriki of the Nanabai, Kakuzu said as both of them watched their target leave running towards the edge of the village. After all, the village was rather small when compared to the others' great nations. If I remember correctly, she's heading to the edge of the village, Kakuzu murmured to himself. Why don't you go play with the village while I take our target, Kakuzu said to his teammate. Finally, watch this, Jashin-sama. It will be a show that you will never forget, Haiden said. He dispelled the genjutsu and picked his scythe before he went running through the village swinging his scythe wildly. And people say I'm insane for collecting hearts, Kakuzu said as he watched Haiden behead a civilian. At least he will keep the village out of my way while I finish things with Fu, Kakuzu said to himself before blurring after Fu. Waterfall Tower, Shibuka-sama, one shinobi yelled as he rushed towards the waterfall tower in the middle of the village. What's the problem? Shibuki quickly replied, standing up from his chair. We, are being attacked by a nuke nin, the shinobi explained, taking deep breaths. Nuke nin as in single? Shibuki asked and the shinobi only nodded. Gather the civilians and evacuate them to the tunnels beneath the lake. Summon the waterfall unit and have him stall the enemy until evacuation is complete, Shibuki ordered, and the shinobi nodded, poofing into smoke. Takigakure, main clearing Mua, Haiden laughed as he slashed yet another poor soul. All hail Jashin, Haiden shouted as he bathed in the blood of his enemies. Mizu Tatsumaki, water tornado, Shibuki said, blurring through hand seals. A tornado of water rushed head-on and crashed into Haiden, who was sent flying into a nearby tree. Who the fuck did that? Haiden screamed as he got up to see someone with ink-black eyes and long, dark brown hair. Black cloak with red clouds, Akatsuki, Shibuki thought in worry. If this shinobi was really from the Akatsuki, then there was no one in the village strong enough to take him down. Send word to the Leaf that we are under attack and dispatch a team to Fu's location, Shibuki ordered. We can only hope to hold on until help arrives, Shibuki thought to himself as he made another set of hand seals. Takigakure, Mizukiri no Yaiba, waterfall style, water-cutting sword, Shibuki said as water materialized itself on the palm of his hand and suddenly solidified. Shibuki rushed head-on against the trespasser. Looking at the horizon, he could see smoke from an explosion. Don't you dare lose, Fu, Shibuki thought as he clashed with Haiden's scythe. Each clash of sword against scythe threw sparks from the power behind each swings. Shibuki ducked under a horizontal swing. Shibuki kicked Haiden's foot, making him lose his balance, and tackled him away to get some distance. Haiden got up and rushed Shibuki. Haiden ducked under a kunai thrown by another shinobi. Haiden jumped in the air and brought his scythe down, only for Shibuki to sidestep it and thrust his blade forward. Haiden tilted his body to the side and allowed the blade to pass by him safely. Haiden tilted his head back and headbutted Shibuki, who groaned in pain and fell backwards. Suetun Suryuden no Jutsu, water dragon, Shibuki called out, and a water dragon rose from the dragon with shining yellow eyes. The dragon roared and went for Haiden, who placed his scythe in front of him, blocking most of the damage, but nonetheless he was blasted backwards. Die, Shibuki yelled as he appeared next to a dazed Haiden and flexed his blade forward. The blade went through Haiden's back, right through his hearth. Awesome, a shinobi cheered. Shibuki-sama is strong, another stated. Fuuk Haiden said as he spat some blood into the ground. That hurt, Haiden said, looking directly at the widened eyes of Shibuki and everyone else. Oh oi. Stop moving, will you? Haiden said, and Shibuki quickly withdrew his blade and went to behead Haiden, only to have his arm caught. Haiden caught his arm and kicked him away. What monster is he? Shibuki asked as he spat blood to the ground and got up into a defensive stance. Fetch the Ayu no Mizu, hero's water, Shibuki ordered, and the shinobi paled but went to get it. Apparently the enemy was stronger than it seemed. Fu vs. Kakuzu BOMMMM. The tree was completely destroyed when a massive fireball collided with it. Fu jumped out and landed safely on the ground. She turned and came face to face with her aggressor. So you came for me after all, Fu said as her heart started racing and adrenaline flooded her veins. Why don't you just come with us, girl? You and I both know you stand no chance, Kakuzu stoically said. I have a few aces up my sleeves, Fu said as she blurred through hand seals. Suetun Teppadama, water bullet, Fu said, and send multiple water bullets against Kakuzu, who remained in place. Dotun, Tsuchi no Yoroi, rock armor, Kakuzu thought as his skin became pitch black from being hardened with earth chakra. The water bullets hit Kakuzu, but he wasn't even phased. Kakuzu didn't even buckle as they felt nothing more than drops of water, like if it were rain. Tsk Fu thought as she thought what she could do against such foe. She didn't want to call and depend on Naruto to help her. If she called him, she would be placing him in harm's way as well, and she didn't want to risk it unless she absolutely needed to. Kakuzu dashed forward and engaged Fu in a taijutsu brawl. Fu quickly realized she didn't stand a chance as she was easily overpowered in both speed and strength. Fu's hits couldn't scratch Kakuzu's hardened skin and his punches felt like stone. Dotun Domu, Earth Spear, Kakuzu said as his right fist hardened even more and slammed into Fu's face. Fu dispersed in a puddle of water. Water clone, Kakuzu thought as several water whips burst from the ground and wrapped around his feet. Suetun Suryudan no Jutsu, Water Dragon, Fu shouted as a massive dragon rose from the ground, headed towards the immobile Kakuzu who stood his ground. The dragon washed into him with high pressure. Once the dragon attack was over, Kakuzu stood there being only drenched head to toe. You are going to have to do better, Kakuzu said as he broke the water restraints and jumped back to gain some distance. My turn, Kakuzu said, flashing through hand seals. Katan, Zukaku no Jutsu, Cranium Carver, Kakuzu said, and small but powerful fireball was sent towards Fu at high speeds. Fu poofed into smoke, revealing a small wooden log as the fireball crashed into the ground and exploded in a fire dome, scorching the ground and lighting up the tree in flames. Fu watched sadly as her house was consumed by the flames. Fu turned her attention towards her village and noticed that there were also fires there. She figured that the village was being kept busy while Kakuzu dealt with her. That, or the village is simply not bothered to send help. After all, who would want to help out a demon? Fu was brought out of her thoughts when she saw Kakuzu rushing towards her. Let me help, Chomei said, thought their mental link. Chomei, Fu said, surprised to hear her. If they capture you, it will be the end for both of us, Chomei reasoned, but Fu was adamant. I can't control your chakra in the version 2 cloak, and I think that the version 1 won't do much against them, Fu replied to her bijou as she held off Kakuzu as best as she could. Power isn't always the best solution, Chomei critically said, bringing a small smile to Fu's face. You have other gifts other than my chakra, Chomei said, and Fu nodded, ducking under a punch and jumping backwards to safety. Hijitsu, Mushios, insect summoning jutsu, Fu said as she placed her hands on the ground and started releasing chakra into it. Insects from all kinds started gathering near Fu. Kakuzu wanted none of that and rushed forward. Kakuzu thought that Fu was weak and wasn't necessary to employ any ninjutsu for now. Bojui no Jin, spindle formation, Fu said, and a wave of bugs rushed Kakuzu in a spiral formation, stopping any advancement he tried. Kakuzu was being overwhelmed by the amount of bugs. Kakuzu decided to stop playing with his prey and his skin burst open. From inside of his body came out a glob of black something with a red mask. The red mask flew high into the sky and fired as fireball towards the original Kakuzu. Kakuzu was set on flames and the bugs incinerated as part of his cloak. A small price to pay to get rid of those annoyances. Fu ducked under whip of something black. She looked carefully at Kakuzu and noticed that he was releasing black threads from his skin. "You're Kakuzu, a nuke from this village," Fu said, shocked. This person defected long ago, but apparently he was still running around. Indeed, Kakuzu said as he released a mouthful of black threads from his mouth. His body started convulsing as 3 other black globes shot from inside of it. Kakuzu was now standing with 4 masks around him. 1 red mask, 1 light blue, 1 dark blue, and the last was a yellow mask. Both red and light blue masks came together and fused. Both masks opened their mouths as chakras started gathering in each. Katan, Tsukaku no Jutsu, Cranium Carver, Futon Atsugai, Pressurized Wind Bomb, both masks released the attacks. The fire stream combined with the wind attack, powering it up. A wave of fire was released, scorching the ground as it made its way towards Fu, who had her eyes widened at the magnitude of the attack. Fu channeled a little of her Biju's chakra and focused it on her back. Suddenly 2 wings popped out and started flapping wildly. Fu quickly rose into the sky as high as she could to try and escape the inferno that her enemy had unleashed. Though she avoided the fire attack, she didn't get too far as the light blue mask came up behind her. Futon Atsugai, Pressurized Wind Bomb, the light blue mask released a pressurized wind bomb that collided head-on with Fu. Fu crashed hard into the ground and had trouble getting up from taking such direct blow. Fu winced as Komiai's chakra got to work on healing her wounds as she got back up. Hiden, Rinpongakure no Jutsu, Secret, Hiding in Scale Powder Technique, Fu said as she exhaled a white power, temporarily blinding Kakuzu. Fu got up and jumped back as far as she could to regain her breath. "Man, I never had such fun," Hiden said as he approached Kakuzu. Hiden was carrying someone on his back. There was a body dangling from the side. "Oh, back already?" Kakuzu asked as he noticed how bloody Hiden was. "It looks like you didn't lose your head this time," Kakuzu said. "Shut up, you bastard," Hiden screamed, and Fu's eyes widened when she saw Shibuki's form with a scythe through his chest. Nudie Shibuki, Fu thought, sobbing as massive amount of chakra surged through her body. Kakuzu and Hiden stopped talking and turned their attention towards Fu. "You bastards, I'm going to kill you both," Fu shouted as purple chakra surrounded and she entered her version 2 cloak.